Actors, we've all got issues, so let's talk about them. I'm Juan Ayala, and welcome to Actors with Issues. Each week, we bring you interviews with actors from across TV, film, and Broadway, taking many deep dives into their careers and getting into the successes, the struggles, and of course, the issues that they face as actors. That's enough about us. Let's dive into the episode. Today's guest is an actor you know from Netflix's American Vandal, Orange is the New Black, and Never Have I Ever, and here to talk with us about the new comedy series Blockbuster. Please welcome to the stage Tyler Alvarez. Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course, so we always start with a game called Getting to Know You. Just throw some rapid fire questions your way. Always start
Okay.
with coffee or tea,
Coffee.
film or
Got it right here.
television,
Film.
drama or comedy,
Drama.
hero or villain,
Villain.
New York or LA?
New York, baby.
That's the right answer. Stage acting or screen acting?
Stage.
What actors had the biggest influence on you?
Mm, I think it's hard to say one person. I think, like, I mean, I'm obsessed with Meryl Streep, but that's
Mm.
kind of a given.
Are you an expert in any accents? And if so, can we hear it? Hear one.
Yeah, not really, but with the dialect coach, can do whatever I need to do.
What is the last show that you binge watched?
Last show I binge watched. Well, I'm in the middle of watching the Jeffrey Dahmer series, which is like
Mm.
really hard to watch because it's
Yeah, it's a hard
so
one to binge.
fucking perturb. It's really, yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's like I cannot watch it before I go to bed.
Mm.
Cannot.
What was your first non-acting job?
My first non-acting job was babysitting.
If you
I
could have
baby
dinner with any actor, dead or alive, who would it be?
Meryl Streep.
What movie never fails to make you laugh?
Oh, The Hangover.
And what movie never fails to make you cry?
A Monster Calls. That made me. I watched it recently. And it made me weep.
Who's in that? A Monster Calls.
Nielsen. Liam Nielsen. Did I say
Liam
He
Neeson.
plays Neeson. I said Nielsen. Nielsen ratings. No, he plays the tree, so he animates it, but it's horrifying. Like,
Okay.
like I had to like cry into a pillow because I was afraid I was gonna wake up the people in my house because I was like screaming, crying. It was so sad.
And it is
Yeah.
spooky season, so what is your favorite scary movie?
Oh, well, I mean, just how about my favorite like Halloween movie? My favorite Halloween movie is like Return to Halloween, like Halloween Town.
Oh, good choice. Wow, no one
I
has said
love,
that. Everyone's like
I
Hereditary or Midsummer.
love that movie. No, 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 no. Halloween Town. I watch it almost every single year.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't watched it this month. I should watch that.
Oh, good. Reminds me of I love magic. So.
Mm. And lastly, describe your most memorable audition in 3 words, and memorable can be good or bad, so that's up to you.
God. Horrifying, embarrassing, and just like I don't know. I gave up. I walked into the room and forgot every single one of my words. I was just they're like, "Do you need another minute?" I'm like, "Yeah, I need a minute," and it was just obviously
Almost
didn't.
150 episodes into the show. Usually, I always say like good or bad, it's up to you, and it's always the bad one that sticks. That's just like
Yeah,
tattooed in our brain.
isn't what does that say about us as a society? It's true. It has like it's become like a thing I do. Like after I do a scene or after like I go a day at work or anything really, instead of going straight to the negative, I pick like, okay, what are the three things that I did great at? Like, what are the three things I'm
Mm,
proud of? What are the three wins from today in
mm,
life, in acting, and everything? And then I go to, okay, what are the things I'd like to improve on?
right.
Uh,
That's very healthy. I feel like
it is,
actors listening, that's a great thing to do. To three
yeah,
top three takeaways of the day,
yes.
and then talk about the bad. But yeah,
And then you
so
can,
yeah, so you have worked on a number of Netflix projects at this point. You've done satirical mockumentaries, teen dramedies, and now a classic workplace comedy. What have you noticed have been like the biggest differences between these very different genres and shows,
oh
especially on the
God.
comedy, because they're all
Well,
comedic, but they're so different.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I treat them all the same.
Mm,
It's just taking it seriously. Like all comedy, the way to be funny is to not try and be funny, but let the writing do the work. And if you're just honest and honor that, then it works. So I kind of like treat them all in the same vein. In American Vandal, we did a lot of improv, which was a lot of fun, and we could go off
mm,
script a lot. On Blockbuster, we were stuck very much to the script, and then never have I ever had a really interesting character. But yeah, I think that's just taking it seriously. It's quite simple when you look at it that way. I mean, for me, it is.
And growing up, did you frequent a Blockbuster? Or was there not really one in your area? I know you're a New Yorker, correct?
Yeah, I'm a New
Were there
Yorker at
Blockbusters in
heart.
New York? I don't know. I'm from the suburbs of Connecticut, so we had
Yeah,
a lot,
yeah,
but
they were. They were. I went to like this one specific. So I grew up in the Bronx and spent some time in Washington Heights as well. And there was a Blockbuster me and my dad and my brother would go to, and I remember it like being just like it being like a really hot summer night, and then you walk into the Blockbuster and it's like that whiff of like cold air rushes through your body and like the smell of the popcorn, like the aisle checkout popcorn. Um, yeah, I got my love for movies from my dad. My dad would always take me to go see movies, and so I owe that a lot of that to him.
Mhm. So you're very much like a character in that sense. Like you grew up, besides being an actor, you grew up like a fan of movies.
Yeah, yeah. I just love. I don't know. That's just something about like I used to go to the movies like 3, 4 times a week by myself, even when I was in high school.
Mm.
Uh, and yeah, I don't know. There's something magical about the you know that place. You just like I know I sound like a freaking idiot, but like I don't know. There's just like there's it's just it's magic. I love magic, and to me, it's magic.
Mm. And we'll get back to the show in a second, but you did talk about sort of you just said your love of magic, but I'm curious if there's any like specific genres or types of projects you haven't gotten to do yet that you would really like to delve into because you've done so much like a varied of comedy. So like what
Yeah.
else do you want to do?
Well, I want to do more drama. I've done some drama in my life. I worked on Orange is the New Black.
Mm.
I did a play at the Roundabout here in New York. That was incredible. That was probably I'm coming up on 10 years working in this business. And in the 10 years, I think that's probably the experience that has held closest to my heart. There's just something about getting in front of like 600 people every single night, and I don't know. There's just like this sharing. It's this energy. I don't know what it is, but I want to do more of it, and I want to do more drama. And yeah, that's what excites me.
Mm. And with the show Blockbuster, I did get to watch, I think about like half of the season so far. I don't want to
Yeah,
watch all of it because then there's nothing
yeah,
left for me to watch after.
yeah,
But I love that. I mean, from your showrunner and the show's creator, they've worked on some of like the best comedies in the last like 10 years. Superstore, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and it has just workplace comedies to me are like The Office is like my favorite show. Like that's not groundbreaking to say that. That's my favorite show. But,
yeah.
workplace comedies just hold such a special place in comedy in general. It used to be like the hangout comedy in like the 70s and 80s. You had like Cheers and Frasier, and then it was like moving to the workplace, and it was there for such a long time. So, did you grow up watching a lot of different comedies, or because you did love film, but were you like a big TV consumer as well?
The funny thing about me is as I've gotten older, I watch less and less TV and less movies. I don't know what it is. And Randall Park, who's on Blockbuster with me, is the same way. Me and him are like, yeah, we don't really watch. I don't know what it is. I don't watch as much as I used to. Like during the day, like, I don't know. I'm just guess because I'm like working in this field all day long. Like at night, I can't. I want to turn my brain off. And if
Yeah.
I'm watching something like it's hard for me to make that switch, which is something I need to get better. But growing up, I always like was drawn. I don't know. I was a kid and like watching August Osage County. I don't know. I was drawn to that. I don't know why. I need help.
But it's funny you say that, but it's like, the when you're younger, you're watching it from like sort of a pure audience member and like consumer lens. And then
Yeah.
like I'm annoying to watch TV with because I notice everything going on in the background. I'm like, do you notice that glass
Right.
panel? They twisted it because the light
Right.
reflect all of that. Like
Right. Right.
it's
I'm,
hard
I'm
to like
watching the
unplug and just
performances the whole
watch.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like eating and like, oh, I'm trying to learn from them and trying to, and I'm just like, God, can you just watch the story,
Right.
watch these people, you know? So
Yeah. It's hard to just veg out when you're an actor and just like watch what you're doing, like analyzing everything.
that's what
Especially me,
reality.
like as an actor and a journalist, I'm like my critic brain is on as well because I write reviews
Right.
for stuff. I'm like, I
Oh my
can't just
God,
enjoy
it must be
anything.
terrible for you. It's like to watch. God. See, that's why we gotta watch reality TV, like popcorn.
But I don't want to watch that either. But we won't get into that.
We
But
won't get into that.
with Blockbuster, it
Yeah.
takes place in the last Blockbuster that is left, and I think there is still only one left.
Mhm.
um, somewhere on the West Coast. I forget where. And over the years, like I'm sure you've noticed sort of how much consumerism and media and just entertainment has changed. What have you noticed is like, especially as an actor, is the biggest difference, like compared to when you're growing up to now?
Oh, well, there's so much more content and so much more like because of technology being so accessible, anyone can make anything. Like they
Mm,
tell everyone, go make your own stuff. And I think that's something that's definitely changed. There's so much saturation of so
mm.
many products all the time. And also like, it's like reflective of the times always, which is like obviously. But I think that is I think also we have more freedom creativity in our creativity.
Mm.
People's voices are louder. And you put that into your work as we all do with art. And I think those two things, yeah.
And on the show, you're working with some pretty big, like sort of TV and film heavy hitters. You have Melissa
Yeah.
Fumero, JB Smoove, Randall Park, Olga Merediz, who stole my heart in the Heights. Uh, like 10 years ago on Broadway and then again in the movie. But what's your experience been like working with them? And did they offer you any guidance or advice, or did they just treat you like a pro and were just like
Yeah,
coworkers?
we really had I was thinking about this. We all really fit together really well because we were there to serve the story.
Mm,
And I think that because in the first week of the show, like, the producers and everyone was like, you guys have the chemistry of like a show that's ran for 6 seasons already
mm,
in the first week. And I think what it is we were all on the same page. We really wanted to just make a really good show. And I think that shows, and we all really connected really well. And it's really like a dream because it just worked really well. Like we had no bad eggs on set, and I can't say that
mm,
for every project I've worked on. We literally have no bad eggs, and I've said this, but other times, if I had a penny for every single time an actor said we were like a family, but like really, we just all really got along together, and it was terrific, and they just and like Randall really set the tone with just like being gracious and making everyone feel comfortable. And we had a few dinners right before production so we could like really get to know each other, which was nice offset to do that before our first days.
mm.
But just like I don't know, it's just don't be an asshole. It's really that simple. And
Yeah.
you know they're wonderful, and I love working with them, and it's a lot of fun. I'm very, very lucky to be working with them.
So I feel like I say this like you just said for everyone that says we're like a family. I feel like on my show, my listeners are like, is he gonna say this every episode? But really, like you can tell that you
Yeah,
guys get along. You can always tell. I feel like
yeah,
even if like the show's good, you're like, ooh, they look like they don't enjoy being on screen together. Other times though, you can really tell like they're having a blast. And it's hard to
yeah,
have fun when you don't like the people you're working with. But really, like you guys really can tell that you're really having a blast. And the show is so like every workplace comedy, it's just like sweet and funny, and it's not trying hard. That's the beauty of like shows that aren't laugh track traditional sitcom. Though they're telling you when to laugh. While this is like you're allowed to just
right,
cringe in the
right.
silence or laugh with them.
Cringe in the silence. Yeah, to me when I watched it, it felt like a warm hug. Which is
Mm,
I think something that all these workplace comedies do really well. It's kind of like it just makes you feel less lonely, and it makes you laugh. And God, Olga Meredith had me screaming laughing the entire time.
mm,
She plays Connie, and like everyone did such an amazing job, and we had so much fun making the show. And it's a really fun show. Like it's a re- it's for it's I've had we owe so much to Vanessa Ramos who created the show, and our directors and our writers and everything. And it's just like kind of like the perfect. I felt this when we were filming the opening scene. I felt this when I was doing American Vandal, how it was just like it felt like all the pieces like kind of just like worked magically together. Like you can't cast that. It's just either gonna be the perfect fit or not. And
mm.
sometimes it's like, oh, it's a good fit, it works, or this is gonna be good. But there's sometimes where it just feels like magic, and it felt like that when we were doing our first, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting that feeling again.
Yeah, and with the show, being such a sort of like loving environment and all of that, like what do you want audience members to take away when they're watching the show?
There are so many different storylines, and I just want them to to laugh, have a good time. And I think for Carlos's storyline specifically, he deals all his the thing that he's dealing with is whether I should chase my dreams or follow the path that my parents, who are immigrants, have set for me. Because they've struggled a lot. They've come to this country with dreams of for me, and I have my own set of dreams, and whether I should follow those and taking a risk. And I talk to so many people who are torn in that same position where it's like, do I follow my passion or do I do I take or do I settle and do what's safe? And they're both scary. And I hope that just, that opens up that dialogue for them, no matter what they end up choosing in life. And also at the same point, like your happiness in your life isn't dependent on what you do. It's not
Mhm.
even, I love what I do. I live, breathe, eat it. I'm obsessive about it, almost too obsessive. I've had to learn. This the reason why I'm sharing this is because I've learned this myself
Yeah.
because this was my life for the past 10. I've been working since I was 15. This has been tunnel vision, and I've learned recently, um, through grief actually, that what's the most important thing in life is living. And even though I get to live my dreams out every day and I love what I do, nothing beats life itself. Family, friends, travel, food, party. Like it's just like life. Life is an amusement park. And you don't want to get stuck on just one ride. You want to ride every single ride before you leave. That's the way I live.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I mean that's a long-winded answer to the question.
It's okay. It's a podcast. I love long answers. Nothing worse than a 5 minute podcast. Uh, but that's so similar to something that your fellow Netflix actor, Yuji Okamoto from Cobra Kai, he said something very similar. He's been in this business for 40 years. He played Chosen as in his 20s and is back now doing the same role. And he just talked about how, actors have to go out and live life and experiences, and that's what helps you develop as an actor. There's no better sort of school for experiences instead of like having to conjure up all of this in your head as an actor. Instead, just go live life and bring all of those experience into your roles
Yeah.
instead of the other way around.
But it feeds your imagination. And the shift that I've made recently is like not doing it for that. I've had to
Right.
just like do it to live for me, not to do it to live so I can like use it in my work. Because then I wasn't really getting as much out of it. Um, and yeah.
Yeah. And with the name of our show being Actors with Issues, not to suggest that we have issues, though Lord knows we have a bunch of them.
We-
So what comes to mind as like a career obstacle or issue that you've had to deal with that you can share some or shed some light with our audience of young actors?
My biggest thing was, and still, it's something I'm working on, and I've made such big breakthroughs in the past 2 years, is letting go and just
Mm,
having fun, not putting too much pressure on myself and getting in my own way. I realized that I have the ability, I have the talent, I have the instrument to do it. But I was weighing my creativity down with all the pressure I was putting under myself. It was kind of like weighing my imagination down with cinder blocks in the freaking Hudson River. And I did the artist way, which is this incredible
mm.
kind of like I don't know, creative artistic self-healing book that like really changed my life. And that along with I do a lot of meditation and stuff like that. And also so my brother died about, it's gonna be 4 years actually this month. Whoa.
Mm. I'm
Um
sorry.
and thank you. And but at the same time, just to pause on that is it's also taught me so much about life,
Yeah.
and I'm a happier person because of it, because now I know what it means to die, so I know what it means to live. Which has freed me a lot in my work, you know?
Yeah.
And so getting out of the way and just trusting myself and just having fun. And that has been, I've seen the most growth for myself as an actor in doing that.
And looking back, is there anything that comes to mind as something that you know now, whether it's about acting or show business or just life itself, that you wish you'd learned maybe a little bit earlier on?
I don't know. I don't think there is. I think you kind of learn things when you're meant to learn them.
Mm,
Right? You know, I think it's all worked out. Even when it's not working for you, it's working for you in one way or another. There are jobs that I really wanted that I didn't get. And like, thank God I didn't get them, because I got like right before I did American Vandal, I had flew to LA to a screen test for a series. I really wanted it. I was like, oh my God, this is a really big project. I didn't get it. Then 3 weeks later, I booked American Vandal. And had I gotten that first job, I would have been a small role on a show that ended up getting canceled and cut and taken off the air because it was so controversial and like so bad, opposed to being the series lead in
Mm.
a show that changed my life. But I think we learn things when we're meant to learn them. Am I saying that properly? I don't know. I slept like 4 hours today. We learn things we're meant to learn them. That doesn't sound right to me. I gotta
It
work on
sounds
that
right.
phrase. Does
Yeah,
it?
you're
Okay.
good.
I need another cup of coffee.
So before we go, we always play a game called Now That We Know You, since we got in a chat for a bit now. Non-rapid fire, so the pressure is off. So fill in the blank. If I
Yeah.
weren't working in the arts, I would be.
Astronaut.
Who said that recently? Someone
I
said
think
that recently on my show. I can't remember. It might have been a filmmaker. I don't remember, but
I'm trying to do the zero gravity plane. It's a plane that takes you all the way up to like zero gravity, like
uh,
all the way up in the atmosphere. Yeah, I'm trying to do that. My bucket list.
they recently announced that Tom Cruise is going to be the first actor to
Yeah,
film in space, literally.
would
You
love
know,
to go.
what role have you had the most fun playing?
Um, hmm, that's so hard. It's just, I mean, I would have to say the 72 miles to go, which is the play I did in New York
Mhm.
at the roundabout.
What is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Best advice I've ever gotten. Like I think it's going back to kind of like what I said earlier. It's like there's so much. It's hard to
Mhm.
solidify into one thing. But how about a piece of advice that I've really enjoyed recently? Oh, nothing real is ever threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And God being interchangeable with, higher power. Like I wouldn't even use the word God, my own
Mhm.
vocabulary. But yeah, that's been kind of like what I've been coming back to recently.
And similarly, what's the worst advice that you've ever gotten?
I don't know. I think I forgot it if I heard if it was bad.
Yeah. Usually there's like one that sticks with us. But yeah, it's best to put all of that out of your mind.
Yeah.
And lastly, in 10 words or less, what
Yeah.
advice would you give to a young actor?
Work on your craft. Like this, we are artisans. This is a craft. You know, don't leave it up to chance. Take
Mhm.
life by the balls and make it happen. The only part that we are in control of is your craft. Consistently work on your craft. I've been working in this business for 10 years. I'm on set all the time. I take classes all the time. I'm training all the time. I treat my craft like an Olympic athlete,
Mhm.
and I'm constantly getting better because I'm nowhere near where I want to be. And I'll never be there because who I want to be will always be 10 years ahead of me. Work on your craft. That's the only thing we have control over, and have fun and don't take yourself too seriously. Serious play, if that makes sense. No, play seriously.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, Tyler, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. Social media, Instagram, where can our lovely fans find you?
I'm at Tyler Alvarez on Instagram and Twitter, and Tyler Sage Alvarez on TikTok.
You said that like a secret. Like
I was trying to remember it.
awesome. And folks, as always, you know the drill. You can find us on Instagram at Actors with Issues. Give me a follow at Juan Ayala Official, and you can find more of our show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts every Monday with bonus episodes on Thursdays. And don't miss Tyler Alvarez in Blockbuster, streaming on Netflix November 3rd. I'm Juan Ayala. This is Actors with Issues, and we'll see you next week.